In this lesson, we'll see how to deploy an application to the device instead of an emulator. While the emulator is useful for application development and testing, it is lacking in some areas. You cannot accurately reproduce how a touch interface will look and feel. It is difficult to tell how a finger will fit in the screen controls. The sizing and the resolution are different. You can also not reproduce orientation changes from portrait to landscape. And finally, the emulator is slow. It is particularly slow when hitting breakpoints and viewing variable values. Device debugging is actually much faster. Debugging on a device is generally done through a USB connection. But before connecting the device by a USB cable, there is a setting that must be changed. I'm going to show the settings in the emulator for both Ice Cream Sandwich and Gingerbread versions. Ice Cream Sandwich will be first. And in both cases, we need to go to the settings of the device. And in Ice Cream Sandwich, there is an entry under Settings for Developer Options. And then we need to enable USB debugging. And we'll get a warning that USB debugging is intended for only development purposes, which of course is what we want to do. So we'll say OK to that. Now this device is ready for USB debugging. Now we'll take a look at that in Gingerbread. And again, we'll go into Settings. This time it's under the Applications menu. And we do need to check that unknown sources are allowed, because this is not a Google Play application at this point. And we go into the development setting, and again, with the USB debugging turned on, and we get the same warning message. So now our device should be ready for USB debugging. And I actually have a live device hooked up. And if I try to debug my application, the live device is shown in the list, along with the two emulators that we just saw. And canceling out gives us that little deployment error. Now, the other choice is to create an Android package. To create one, we'll switch to Release Mode. And under the Build menu, there will be a package, whatever your application name is, for Android, APK. And selecting that, it will do the build and eventually tell me that it created an APK. And there are my packages successfully built. That will create a single file that I can deploy to any device, and by tapping the file on the device, it will install my application. One thing to note is that Mono is free for deployment on emulators, but to deploy to a device, you need to purchase it. So if you have not purchased the full version, you will not see the device options.